Hello, hello, hello.
We're live. Today on the episode of Reasonable Wrestling Podcast, we will be talking about the bloodline again. We will also be we'll be talking about Elimination Chamber preview, TNA's business decisions or lack thereof, or lack thereof when it comes to business, and AEW's biggest championship title picture in my eyes in some time. Coming now.
It's simple. It's simple.
Yo, oh sh it's been a minute since I put that up. What's going on, everybody? I'm too busy smelling my bud. I'm not controlling the boards. I'm sorry, it's the joint roll Ayatollah with my tag team partner CT aka Chitty Bang.
What's good? What's good? What's good? Doing well.
I wanted to say something real quick because I sprung that on you in the cold open. So I want everybody to understand this ain't my show. This is our show. But in my eyes, AEW's hottest championship picture is right now. And the intricacies of that story, I'm loving it. And I don't know if you agree with me, but I just wanted to make sure that this ain't just my show, but I feel like AEW is popping right now.
Well, let's get into it right now. Shit, off the top, like AEW. But before we do get into it, you guys definitely subscribe, like the channel, like and support us. Check us out on Twitter at RW Podcast One and all that media's of socialness, and check us out on Facebook, Reasonable Wrestling. Check us out on Instagram, Reasonable Wrestling. We're here, we're doing it big. We're the podcast that won't stop, can't stop. And he wants to clearly talk about the AEW World Heavyweight Championship picture. Let's
We gotta
right
zig while others are zagging. You know what I'm saying? Or zag while others are zigging.
I guess so. Let's go right into it, man. We have Hangman Page, Shane Swerve Strickland, a lot of S's, and Samoa Joe. Yeah, that dude. I think you're right in some facets that this is a really good title picture, main event, picture right now. This is what we asked for, honestly. I'll even go back as far as me talking about this match in November, but I'm not gonna say who was saying, "Oh, how you think you're gonna get there by then?" But
I also want to see come full circle while we doing that. Will he be champion in Wimbledon? Now, if he is, I would definitely come back. And
Will
I'll
Ospreay.
keep those W's. I'll be Jameis Winston.
I should be eating those W's because that's what I want. Shane Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay and Wembley. I think it'll be a fantastic match. I think they'll blow the roof. They don't got a roof, do they? But they'll definitely steal the show. But Shane right now is getting such a great reaction, having such a great interest and vibe with his group. I want to see him separate himself from the Mogul Embassy eventually. I want to see Shane and King Nana be a duo as just solo, and him be a solo act as champion. I think right now he is being turned almost by force of the fan reaction into a babyface, and our disdain for the whiny crybaby of Hangman Page is like making him a heel. So this is kind of like a organic, it's like double turn that's happening. In the meanwhile, we have Samoa Joe in the mix of it all. This will be his second title defense after Hook. I can't see him necessarily losing it right away, but I do think there should be a rematch somewhere down the line with Samoa Joe is Shane Strickland. Hangman Page's vow was to make sure Shane Strickland Swerve does not win the championship. And I think if he somehow costs Shane to, the match at Final Destination, it gives a little bit more to the story. We can extend it a little bit further to like the next, live event, or at some time in between where Swerve Strickland can finally overcome the odds and defeat Samoa Joe. Maybe they do a show in Seattle, isn't that where he's from?
He's from Seattle.
Yeah, so that'll be cool if he wins it even in his hometown. Whose house, Swerve's house, bringing it back home. But I don't see Samoa Joe losing it right now. Do I think this is the hottest main event picture they've had ever? No, I don't. But I do think it's definitely up there.
I would say this: Swerve outside of MJF is one of the most over homegrown, or well, I can't even say Swerve's homegrown. I'm sorry, because he was actually on WWE TV, so I can't say that. But Swerve seems to be.
He feels like it because he's kind of like ascended to the main event scene while in AEW under them. They treated him differently in WWE. In AEW, they treat him as if he's a star, and rightfully so.
Well, I will also say this too. During that time, and I don't want to look at a revisionist history, did they give him the ball like they're giving him the ball now? No.
Who, AEW?
Yes. No, I'm saying did WWE give Swerve the ball like they're giving Swerve like that they did? No.
No, they did not. No.
I can admit that, but also what I will say is that the heel element of where Swerve was going in NXT with Hit Row was fire. When he was North American champion and he put on bangers with Legado and Bronson Reed and was defending the championship, he was mid-card, yes. And I can understand where you're saying where he wasn't perceived to be main event talent at that level or at that point. That's why I'm comparing him to MJF in a sense, because when MJF did debut with AEW, he was an opening act, right? He said it himself. He didn't think it was going to be what it was. And to your point is what I'm trying to get to. The fans are dictating, which I guess this can kind of swerve, and no pun intended, into AEW and WWE, where the fans are dictating a lot. And for fans to complain and cry a la The Rock and say that they're not getting what they want is like living in a like echo chamber of stupidity.
It's kind of like they don't get that the bus has passed of the complaining and all that shit. Like I saw my nephew earlier today. Right now is the hottest wrestling has ever been since the 90s, since the Attitude Era. It's just a fact. It's just across the board. Wrestling is back in the zeitgeist, and wrestling honestly is it's big. It's big right now, doing big business. Rock just came out and talked about them selling out a stadium or arena, and breaking a record just on Friday, So, for fans to complain is one thing, but for fans to make observations is another. Like if as a fan, I will make observations about how things are handled. And just like we did with WWE and how we didn't like the whole Uso storyline that's going on right now between Jay and Jimmy, how they could have done better. I'm going to point the same thing out with AEW. And because it's just, and mind you, I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm just saying that from a fan perspective, you have a right to say, hey, you know what, they could have done it a little bit better. They could have done it a little bit differently. And whereas, I think the main event scene is being done right, and the women's division is taking a better turn. Absolutely, I've seen improvement. So I'm happy. I think over the past couple months,
Queen Aminata and Anna Jay putting on a banger.
Absolutely,
banger.
Yeah. Shout out to Queen Aminata. I watched her interview with Renee, and it was very touching. She really, coming from where her country, I think it was Guinea, and then going to France and with this dream of coming to America and being a wrestler and just going to the Indies and doing it for the love of it. And she hid it from her father, and her father knew, and she found out when he passed away, went back home for his burial, and she saw the pictures in his phone of of her in her ring gear and wrestling in Japan and all that stuff. I was like, wow, that's such a touching story. Like that's
Oh
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
I was watching the interview and I almost cried myself because I buried my father back in Nigeria, and having your father not live to see your dream come true is hard. But I see that I mean, like respectfully, I think she's gonna be a star, and he's watching, and just keep going because I think that she not only has a look, she has, I think, the
She has a
drive,
she has a real presence and
a real presence.
a
Yeah,
real dedication to the craft.
yeah, yeah. She said it was hard taking those bumps at first, but she said, "No, I'm going to do it. If these girls can do it, I can do it too." And she's getting better and better every time I see her, and she's finally winning. So congratulations to
Got her
Queen
first win.
Aminata.
Got her
Yeah, got her
first
first
win.
victory, and hearing her story, it made me connect more with her. I think she's definitely going to be a big star, and I think that she has the sky's the limit for her. So shout out to her. Very impressed with her improvements.
And
Go
that's
ahead.
why I wanted to bring up AEW for because I know we got on them. I was part of that, and I've been part of the rebranding of myself and the podcast towards it, or because this is like we said before. We used an analogy before we got on camera, and I'll bring it here. This is a coach learning on the fly, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Tony legit learn on the fly, and we get on his ass about how he should handle his team, how he should manage his company, how he should present himself. And we're seeing the rebuilding of the women's division on the fly as he's building anticipation. As Tony Storm has helped carrying the flag, I think she is doing a better job than Jamie Hayter is, just from a character standpoint. Ringwork Jamie was a beast. I like me a big strong gal. You know what I'm saying? So Jamie, but like Queen Aminata, Sky Blue, Julia Hart, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander with Anna Jay we just mentioned. There is potential. This ain't even talking about Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa or Saraya or Athena's doing good work over there with and ROH as well, keeping things afloat. With that, Serena Deeb just came back. I'm noticing that as we killed them for the women's division, not having women matches on the show or multiple women segments on the show and stuff like that, he's paying attention back to what we saying as far as fans, listening, incorporating new girls, having new women on screen, telling new different types of stories. It's not the same archetype. It's not the same. It's not the type of. It's not the same. It's not the same kind of wash and repeat. And I just and the mid card is adding a little bit of substance. You wanted to bring up Sammy and Jeff Hardy having a match.
Well, before we go to the mid card, I also want to shout out Red Velvet. She was on Hey EW, so I had to tune in and watch that this morning.
You wanted that show banned a couple of days ago, last week, actually. You said replace
but when you have Red Velvet on it, it's a reboot to me. Like, you might as well. I'm tuning into that. I was like, they posted that shit 5 minutes. I'm like, gotta watch that. But nah, I think she's super special, and it's like seeing her and Tony Storm. Obviously they kill it whenever they're in the ring together. That was a couple weeks ago though, but definitely like to see more from her, including her in the women's division that you're talking about. But moving along, I just said give a little shout out.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm not going to stop you from you getting that off about Red Velvet. Yeah. I think her being involved in the TBS championship again, a championship that she's been really kind of responsible of help. Listen, Do everybody remember her and Sky Blue taking those jaded? What's Jade's move? I'm sorry. What was it called? Her finisher.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah, man. Like her Red Velvet and Sky Blue made that shit viral. It made that shit go. So, Red Velvet is always a queen in my book when it comes to being involved in this. So I hope she's incorporated in one of these championships they got. They got 4
I
of them.
think she should be champion, man. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Julia
Hart.
She should be champion.
I think her and Julia Hart could slap, and I think she should win. I think she's next in line, bro.
Okay,
Yeah.
a little book of black, a little book of black,
a little bit,
a little book of black for your
give
mate.
some love to Red Velvet for real. She on my top 5, as Booker T would say. Shucky Ducky.
Black.
Yeah, man. Shout out to her. But you were about to mention the mid card. Now, here's where I got to bring a little bit of criticism.
Okay.
Now, Sammy Guevara and Jeff Hardy had a banger of a match on Rampage this week. There was a spot where Sammy Guevara did a shooting star press, had landed with a knee on Jeff Hardy's head and broke his nose. Luckily, there's no concussion, and he's gonna make a full recovery. But things happen. But I just want to give them props because that match was crazy. They did a lot of crazy shit. My only thing is, like I always tell you with AEW, bro, who's gonna remember this shit in a couple of months? And it's so good of a match that it should matter.
What
like
if it leads to something?
Huh?
What if it leads to something?
It could definitely lead to something. Don't get me wrong. We'll wait and see. But my point is these exhibitions that they just go all out in on a Rampage on after SmackDown, which a lot of people are sleeping by then. I feel like, man, if Jeff Hardy had an angle with Sammy Guevara and had this match on a Dynamite or even a pay-per-view, it would be like, oh, one of the matches of the year kind of thing. You know, that's what I mean about building up to an event or a match and then boom, showcasing everything you got. Now, this wasn't even a ladder match. But they had ladders all over this bitch and tables and all that shit. And it was entertaining for sure. Going back and watching it, it's an entertaining match, but the storyline and the build and direction of your characters matters tremendously. So these moments are amplified. It just matters. It just makes it more amplified.
Well, this goes back to what I'm okay. You get on me a lot about how I play in Madden. I play stupid.
Oh man, that's a great point.
I play stupid in Madden. But you get mad because you know how good I can play, you know how good I can be, you know I don't get everything right, you know what I'm saying? But you got good intentions. Okay. I tell you all the time, bro, I want to play the game because I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like
that you should go back to freaking all pro, or that's how I'm looking at it. Like if you want to be an indie, be an indie. Like, don't act like you're competing with WWE. Don't, you maybe shouldn't have 3 shows. Maybe you just have 2, but like the thing with Tony Khan is he's like you in this facet of, yeah, you are getting better from something you haven't done before and you're learning on the fly. And I'm going to give you grace for it. But there's times where it's an egregious mistake. Like going on Twitter and running your mouth. It's like as an owner of a company, it's an egregious mistake where I just got to call it what it is. This is crazy to me.
Going 4 for 5 in my own,
exactly.
On my own 32.
Now if you've done it if you've been a company that's been uber successful for 10, 15 years and you go online and say something, it's a little bit different because you've already had your, but then you're still building this equity at this moment,
and that's also, and I appreciate you saying that because if I want to win, because there are levels to man, right? And when we talk about it, is that like you also have a level in Madden that you haven't reached when you play other people, right? Mm-hmm. And for me to even think about competing on that level, nigga, your mindset gotta be like this level. You know what I'm saying? And Tony Khan, I think I'm saying this is because if we let people get away with bad shit for too long, then we have situations where we have situations,
Exactly.
right? And we have that where we enable people to make constant, and we code it with give them time, they'll figure it out, or it's a mistake, they'll learn from it, or whatever the case may be. No, when it comes that, like, if you say, yo, I really want you in the playoffs, bro, but if me and you play week 18, and I need to win that game to get in the playoffs, you're not taking no dives. You know what I'm saying? So with that analogy, there's nobody going to give Tony Khan grace or leeway when you've shown that you can
do it better than you were doing it now.
Exactly.
I've seen it. Because I've seen it. Like, I was the guy championing AEW when it came around for 2 years straight. I'm like, yo, this is going to be better than NXT. Trust me. And it was when NXT 2.0 debuted. It was better than NXT.
And it kind of still is, bro.
Arguably, yeah, absolutely. You know, you can have that argument. I can see people who love AEW and vibe with that. Some people who like, no, NXT is doing their thing and they're cooking. And I think there's an argument to be made, but there was a time where it was like unanimously better than AEW, and a lot of times it was better than Raw, SmackDown too. I'm going to be honest. There was a time when AEW was the hottest thing. It was a stretch of like a month or two, and then it went quickly. What came and went, you know. And I'm like, oh, if you could do that, you can capture that in a bottle, and like use that, magic, and consistently do that. Cool. You fumble.
I'm sorry. I was just about to say. Not to go back into but this goes back to why I'm appreciating them right now. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, do your thing.
With Swerve, we're seeing it when we talk about capturing lightning, right?
I'm like glad you brought that up.
With Toni Storm, like, okay, hey man, she's still one of the best wrestlers, characters. She had to lose again to get into this character, but once she got to this character, he gave her the ball and ran with it. He scrapped everything. And let her go with that. You know what I'm saying?
Carl Sheeter, sorry, we're putting this title on Toni Storm. Honestly, Carl Sheeter's like the bridge quarterback, as people say. When you need a bridge champion.
She's studying Bridgewater, guys.
And then you find your franchise and Tony's franchise. She's money. I think that her gimmick right now is super fly. I think it's super creative. I'm really looking forward to seeing her grow within it. And I'm a harsh critic. I'm going to be honest. I'm a harsh critic because I care and I think they can do great. I was harsh on Toni Storm literally since she debuted in NXT. I've been hard on her. Like, I'm not one of the people like, oh my gosh, she looks so hot and I love Toni Storm. No, I genuinely critique her as a wrestler. And from NXT, I know everybody's like that with Toni Storm. And none of that means nothing to me. I think she's a great wrestler, but since NXT, I was always like, something's not clicking for me with her. It seemed like a little inauthentic. It seemed a little bit corny to me. Her whole thing in NXT. What's up, X? How you been, bro?
What's good, brother?
But now
you got a baby on the way, bro.
Word! Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah.
Yo, we gotta have you on the pod again, man. We gotta talk. Yo, congratulations. Your life comes fast, bro. You just got married, man.
You just got married and
shut the club up. Damn. So no, congratulations, bro. Yo, that's love right there, man. Shout out to love. Shout out to X, you and your wife, bro. We definitely got to have you on the pod again. Talk some wrestling right now. WrestleMania season. And we'd love to get your takes on what's going on. Obviously, shit is hot right now. Shit is crazy.
The shenanigans, brother.
Word up. You're welcome, brother. Definitely blessings to you and your family, bro. That's amazing. But yeah, man, there's so much to talk about. We definitely got to get you on here. I was just talking about Toni Storm. I love what she's doing with the new gimmick. It finally feels like everything's clicking. Moving on, though, like I was mentioning back with the Sammy and Jeff thing, this match, you mentioned Swerve a second ago, and you mentioned Tony, and I'm like, there you go. That's lightning in a bottle. AEW recognized it, and they told a story to get to where they are now, and it flows. There's a direction. It makes sense. This Jeff Hardy Sammy Guevara match, although although I really appreciate it, and it was definitely a match where I was like, yo, this is a banger unexpectedly on a Rampage. And I get it. That is kind of how AEW does their thing. We're here to have good matches and throw that out there. But I know that if you were to tell a story and build it to this match, it would have amplified it so much more. If this was a Final Destination match, if Sammy wasn't just doing something, just on and off of the whim. I know Jeff Hardy's going through a kind of like a turn in his heel gimmick. I think that would have been great to get Sammy over in a big match at a pay-per-view in a big moment with a story behind it, rather than it just be, man, that's crazy. They just went all out. And it's almost like a passing of the torch of the Daredevil. Jeff Hardy has been that crazy guy who's going to do whatever it takes to win a match. And now Sami Zayn is that crazy guy who's going to dive off of the stage, dive off of a structure and do something wild. And if you were to build up to that and get that big rub off from Jeff to Sammy in a ladder match at Final Destination, or was it Revolution? I'm sorry. What's the next pay-per-view name? Revolution. I think you're muted, but Revolution, I think it is. At Revolution, it would have been a bigger moment for me.
Yes, I was muted. I'm sorry. Revolution.
Yeah. I think you get what I'm saying, though. Like, I definitely think that we got to find a way in AEW to consistently capitalize on these moments a little bit better. You know what I mean? So it can really hit home. Okay, Sammy's the next level now. And I think they did it. Cody and Sammy did it before in a match, had a great match, but then people don't talk about it. Like how many people are going to talk about this Jeff Hardy Sammy match?
The reason why people don't talk about it is because nobody's interested in Sammy. Right, and I know you're gonna say, like, you're gonna call bullshit on it because Sammy's a really good wrestler, like you just said, he had a really good match. But the character of Sammy, bro, is not a character that, like,
you gotta work with it. I'm not saying it's a complete package yet. I'm just saying that Sammy definitely has what it takes to get a reaction. I like him as a heel, but I think now he's come back. After he had the baby with Conti and everything, and he had that turn with the Don Callis family. It's an opportunity to capitalize on that and make him a baby face and make him a bona fide. He needs
to capitalize and honestly make himself. I hear what you're saying. I'm sorry. I hear what you're saying. He has to make himself stand out, right? Yeah. It has to be a story that's told. But yeah. I don't know if he's ever going to. This is my thing. I don't think that anybody's ever going to boo Jeff Hardy to cheer Sammy Guevara.
Oh yeah, they will. It's just a matter of how you tell the story, how you do it, man. Like, you gotta understand, Jeff Hardy is not what he used to be, and we got to. They did it in Impact. They did it in TNA. They did get to a point, and I know it's hard because Jeff Hardy's that nigga, but they got to a point where that fans were genuinely booing Jeff Hardy, and you needed a guy like Sting. You needed a guy like AJ Styles, and the whole group they had. He had a whole faction behind him, but you don't need all that. But all you need is Jeff Hardy to have his actions show his intentions are not very pure over a period of time, basically, and be consistent with what he's trying to do. He already is not shaking hands after he loses to Jon Moxley. He's already, doing things like a little bit like to show that he's not with all this shit going down. It could work. There's so many baby faces in AEW that you can make, some young stars that you can make off of a guy like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, but that's my key. That's my point, though. And I don't want to get bogged down in the Sammy stuff because my point is that you're saying they need to capitalize on stuff. Sammy been there for a minute, right? He almost in itself is a bridge, nigga.
No, right, you're right. I think a lot of the Sammy thing has passed because they consistently attached him to like Chris Jericho's nuts for so long, And I'm like, yo, get off his nuts, bro. Like, you need to be on your own. He should have been on his own a long time ago, and I think that hurt him. I did. It was always Chris Jericho taking his shine in some facet. It got to a point where, the Inner Circle collapsed, and then it became the Jericho Appreciation Society. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro!
Wait, did Sammy take the bump with Matt Hardy when Matt Hardy hit the cement? Wasn't that
Yeah,
Sammy?
I'm not sure if that was Sammy. That's crazy. Forgot about
Sammy.
that too.
Stop hurting the family, brother. You know what I'm saying?
That's motivation right there. Jeff Hardy can come back with a mask on his face like you broke my nose and take a pipe to his
Yo,
fucking
he come
back.
back with the Taker mask. That'd be fire.
Yo, that would be fire. Yo, with paint on it and shit. Like you need to put like a little paint design on it, joint.
That's gonna make me cheer.
I mean, if you give him a dark persona, even if you cheer him, I think you can have a great classic match down the line with Sammy and tell it.
That's
that's what I'm trying to say.
If Willow come back with a mask and is haunting Sammy Guevara, I might be able to buy into that story. If he goes to if Willow comes back, Jeff Hardy comes back as Willow.
Oh yeah.
If he comes back as Willow and he haunts Sammy Guevara and try to go after his baby and shit like that. Go to the apartment and shit like that. That might work.
All right, you're going too far, bro. And I think that'll be a huge way to tell a story. And that's what I'm trying to get at AEW. You don't gotta tell stories the same way as WWE. I heard Swerve on an interview say we do tell stories, but it's not like we do this melodramatic thing. We do it in a different way. And I'm not saying that you got to be melodramatic in your storytelling. Swerve has a story because you know why? Swerve went out there and had a promo with Hangman Page months ago and set the stage for all of this shit. So that's a story. That's a real story. That's why I love promos. You guys talk about, Rampage and Dynamite had this amount, like an hour and 30 minutes of wrestling, and Raw had 32 seconds. And they compare it, but like the thing about it is these are television shows. I love wrestling too, but I want to see you guys captivate me into something, and Swerve and Hangman did that. That's a great story, but I don't think Swerve sees the other roster and how they're being used and how there is lacking story in those divisions. I mean, it's taking a turn now, but before it was just kind of a bunch of randomness outside of his stuff. He was great.
Benny said it, bro. Everybody can go.
Everybody can go. Not everybody, no. But if there's one story, that doesn't mean that your show is good at telling stories. That's what I'm trying to say.
But that's not what. But this is what I'm trying to tell you. When the stories are being told, you just don't be wanting to fuck with them sometimes. But they stories in itself, right? So as you scroll your face,
Bang Bang Scissor Gang is not my thing.
Huh?
You're right. Bang Bang Scissor Gang is not my thing. But I don't come here and talk about them at all.
That I might buy a shirt, brother. I ain't gonna know you.
Hey man, teach his own. To me, teach his own. And I think like when I'm talking about missed opportunities, like this over here, I just can't even talk about it because like Jay White, since he's been here, has just been fodder. And hopefully he'll come back around and become.
That's the same thing as Scissor Me Daddy, right? Scissor Me Daddy was something that we ain't talking. I didn't really fuck with the Acclaim, but they got hot. Tony capitalized on it, ran that wave. So they've done it and they do it. They do it and they've done it. I can see
I'm not gonna shit on it. People are enjoying it, but I can see through the bullshit. I can see through. Oh, Scissor Me Daddy, and the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. There's nothing there. There's literally no substance there. There's no reason why
it's a turn.
We shall see. We shall see. But here's the thing about it. Right now, as we said, there has not been a turn. And even if there is a turn, why would I care? Because I don't care about what they're doing now. I don't personally, and other people might care. But I think that what AEW sometimes falls into is a pattern of appealing to the lowest common denominator of wrestling fans. And that's my opinion. I'm not trying to diss nobody.
I can't hear you just have us go down. You drove us, you was conducting us. You drove us down this road talking about how Sammy Guevara needs to be involved in better storytelling. And you didn't make the case that Jay White and the Bang Bang Scissor Gang need to be telling us. And my argument for Sammy Guevara is the same argument that you used with them. You don't give a fuck about. So we got 7, 8 niggas that we just said that we don't give a fuck about. So
if you count their opponents,
listen,
it's about 13 niggas
listening to this podcast.
14.
And he got a mole listening to this podcast. And he like, well, shit, I ain't got to write for these niggas. Bro.
Listen, man, having a 12-man tag team match, sorry, bro, it's not gonna make me happy to go turn on your channel. Sorry, dog. Oh, Bang Bang Singer against who? Jeff Jarrett in the Dark Order? I'm cutting that shit off right away. I'm sorry, bro. Like, what do you want me to do, bro? What do you want me to say?
Bro, Jeff Jarrett, bro, my guy. You need to hang them boots, throw them up on the goddamn line, cuz like.
Listen, man, I've never been a Jeff Jarrett fan since the 90s. I don't even address that nigga anymore because I feel he's like
Jay
a nepotism
Lethal
baby to
turned
me.
into
He's like
a
straight
lackey,
nepotism,
cuz.
bro.
I don't know what happened with Jay Lethal. He used to have some nuts.
Listen, man. Anyways, I'm not trying to kill it with a data. All in all, what I'm trying to say is AEW is getting better. Okay, guys. I know it doesn't sound like it, but they are getting better. And I am going to be tuning in more often because I do see improvements. Definitely that main event scene has been a lot better. And the women's division. So I think that's enough for me. And give me one more thing to care about, and I probably will watch weekly again. But that's all right now.
All right. If they turn and combine the titles, how would you feel about that?
I think that's the smartest thing to do. Honestly, I do think that's smart,
and that would be good storytelling. Because listen,
I wouldn't say that.
Hold on, my thing. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying that is because, and this is what goes back to my argument about titles matter. Jay White came in the ring. Jay White came and made, and you said debuts matter. Correct. But they did it with Adam Cole, big debut. They did it with Bryan Danielson, big debut. You know, they did it with Samoa Joe, big debut. It still take them old niggas to grease it up, nigga, and get going over there.
True. And that's why I'm not gonna kill him with Jay. I'm gonna wait and see with Jay White. Even though I mentioned, hey, like it was a little bit.
And when Jay got there, they instantaneously gave him the Dolph Ziggler feud, right? Where you wrestle and kind of get yourself hot, right? Things that they didn't do with the other guys, right? Bryan Danielson came in, instantly got this is awesome with Kenny Omega, jets flying. Adam Cole, he's not had a hot start, and Samoa Joe played the background for a long time.
True.
Keith Lee,
Adam Cole like, starts up and then stops. Adam Cole,
so,
man.
And this goes back to what we said. So I can make my point, and I'm sorry. They threw Jay White in the water with MJF. At the time when MJF was hot as fish grease, and it was like, yo, if you don't get fried, you a good nigga. He got fried. He got fried, served him up, put some hot sauce on a piece of bread. He got fried. He got fried with the rest of them. And MJF made everybody like he's done with, because nobody could talk. And this goes back to where you're saying talking, right? MJF is not the best goer in the ring. When MJF got on the mic when MJF came face to face with Swerve, think about it. When MJF and Swerve get in the ring together, MJF can do the shit that Swerve can do.
No,
and I that's my point.
He can go,
but I'm not saying he can't go. But what I am saying is MJF's intimidation on the mic with everyone except for Samoa Joe made everybody less fodder. When Adam Cole came and they didn't instantaneously do that, so that's what I'm saying. When we get mad at Jay White tried. He went he shot for the king and he missed. And when you miss,
and when I criticize that, I want to be clear. It's more like, all right, I'm not going to say it's the most egregious thing they've ever done, although I didn't like the story they told. It was but I do think that Jay White in this trio championship feud right now, it's a waste of my time, not necessarily his. I'm not watching that because I don't care. But even though I see him as a very great competitor who eventually might get the Samoa Joe treatment, and in a year he might be champion, and I might be super intrigued. I'm not saying that he's done, like cooked. I'm just saying that, man, he's come around, and he doesn't feel like a big deal right now to me as a fan.
And that's fair.
Even if he was in the TNT Championship, world, like that stuff going, I could have been that feud. But speaking of TNT Championship, I like that Daniel Garcia is getting his opportunity, and he's getting more shine from that. And we'll see where that goes.
I'm about to say how trash that is, because when you was going to say TNT Championship, I'm about to say that's some you want to talk about shit you don't care about. Throw it in the bag. Do not care about that. Nigga.
Well, it's definitely jumped the shark. We did care about, at least I did care about it. It's coming to the point where it's like, all right, guys, Edge, Christian, how long are we gonna do this thing for?
That's true.
Now you take him out with the Concerto.
And that's what I feared. That's why I could never have gotten invested in it. When you was like, it's gonna be a good match, it's a good story. You was trying to pull me.
It was a good match, a good story. It was. I think, in my opinion, yeah.
So this is what I'm trying to say. Back to so we can tie AEW up with a bow. We talked about this was started about stories. They can't tell good stories with everybody, and also, some stories that we think are bad are good to other people.
Yeah, and I let that be, because all you gotta give me is like 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, all right, and they are. That's why I say it's getting better. I didn't want to say the show is bad. I know I'm getting on attention on certain things that gives me my honest, opinion on things. When you keep going, eventually I'm going to come and tell you my truth of how I feel about certain things.
I wanted to get there so we can get to there, because the stories, like you say, that aren't good, right? It goes back to, like you said, I didn't care about the Edge Christian thing from jump, but you said it was good. And again, I respect your opinion, but as we let that shit go, like we said with Tony Khan, if you let shit get out of hand and you don't check it, it would. So
and I think he does. His storytelling style is very long-winded and very slow, So I think that we are accustomed to more fast-paced with WWE. Although sometimes they can even jump the shark. Sometimes like, all right, Finn and Seth again. All right, come on now. They do the same thing sometimes. So I'm not saying that they're like doing something that I think is anything that I haven't seen before, of course, but the excitement of Swerve, Samoa Joe, Hangman, it's new. Let's hopefully that they don't overextend this to like beyond May and shit, but I do think Swerve should be in the title picture. Absolutely. I hope he wins it actually, soon. Cause I think that's the best way to go. When I talk about the TNT Championship, in the moment, it was great. Edge beat him. Luchasaurus comes back, cashes in, kill switch. Christian takes the thing from him. He beats him back, wins the TNT Championship. Now, put that to rest. Yeah. Who is the next upcoming babyface that you want to give this heel Christian rub to?
And Daniel Garcia
Christian has done the work to put over that championship. He has. As a heel champion, he has done the work to put over that championship. Now you need somebody to come up and take that from him as a bona fide babyface.
That was his moniker when he came in too, right? Do the work.
Oh yeah, outwork everyone.
Outwork everyone. Yeah, he's worked.
And then now I worked everyone. Yeah, that was good. And he's put in the work. He has, and he's elevated his character and the title in the process. But I think that giving the title to Adam Copeland and back to him is just because you wanted Adam to win that match after all the story you told, and then you give it back to him because you know that Adam Copeland holding the champion does nothing for you. Exactly. Unless
like you said, he knows how to tell stories. He knows how.
I've been saying this for a long time now. But I do think that it can get long. And now here's where the long-winded part comes in. After that match, that's the blow off, bro. Then you go and do now we're getting Sting and Darby Allin and Copeland versus them, and it's like, all right, cool. And now I keep going on, and then it's like, gets to the point where it's like, God damn, like, all right, now you're having Christian take him out with a concerto. Isn't this like 3 months, like, overdone now? Like it's overcooked. So now we're like, okay, instead of giving him the concerto, if he gave that concerto to Danny Garcia, and Danny Garcia came back in a month to challenge him, or he did something at Revolution to like get revenge on Christian or cost him the championship. Now there's a personal grudge between Christian, a top heel in your company, with Danny Garcia, who's trying to overcome and become a better babyface in the eyes of the fans. That's what I'm trying to see, to talk about. It's like that rub that you gave, that all the heat you got from this angle with Luchasaurus turning to kill switch, Christian being a freaking menace, a father figure. He has Nick Wayne's mom and all that stuff. You need a bona fide baby to overcome him, and I think that's the only piece they're missing, and you can't keep relying on Adam Copeland to get this thing over.
Well, I mean, I would say I don't think they're relying on Adam Copeland to get it over. I think they're relying on Christian to get it over, but Christian does need to let this thing go to a new competitor. And I think Daniel Garcia has done great to rehabilitate himself. I never thought that he should have lost to Wheeler Yuta. I thought that was a horrible decision, but I guess they was trying to make Wheeler Yuta, which they ultimately did. Wheeler Yuta ended up being a player. So I would say this: AEW as well as WWE, as we about to get into it, like Bully Ray, you sent the video. They had no fucking idea how they was telling the story, what story it was going to tell. And if you rock with it, you rock with it. If you don't, you don't. And I think that is how most companies should do it. I don't think that because we influence again as who they're appealing to, which is us. We ultimately still have to ride somewhat of a wave. And as Bully Ray was telling his side or his belief to what the wave may be with WWE, is that they didn't know what the fuck they was doing. They didn't know where they was going. They didn't know how they was going to tell the story. They didn't know where they was going to get. They didn't know what direction they was going to go. So I can't spend what we just did 45 minutes on AEW saying that they are convoluted and long-winded and short-sighted in their storytelling and get super revved up for WrestleMania season as we going to make the excuse that because we don't know means that it's a good place to be.
I mean, I think they're in the right direction. I think going in the right direction. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I hear what you're saying but it is true. They do get long-winded storylines and sometimes it's not as captivating. Like even I know there was an injury involved, but even MJF and Adam Cole got long-winded to me, and I shouldn't because they're both incredible talents. So it's just about how you position your talents to succeed and, how you put them over in the best light and get the fans to buy in. So there's a moment that we remember at a big show, But shout out to AEW. I think they are.
You didn't even watch their big show. I'm sorry. You didn't even watch their big show. So they did
I watched enough of it.
You did not watch their Wembley show, brother.
Watch some of it. I didn't watch it live, when everybody else did. I did go double back and check it out.
And no moment stuck out to you.
I'm not gonna go back to that, man. I'm not gonna.
No, I'm not.
It wasn't what everybody else thought it was. Put it that way. But I was good. It was good,
And I think that's where and so when you say I want them to get better to impress me, because that's ultimately what
impress me. Go ahead.
No. Okay. I mean, not okay. Phrasing. They need to get better to engage me. Okay. Can I? Is that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. They need to do better to engage me when ultimately everything, as we're about to talk about in the next company, isn't always engaging. And that's so. And like you say, that's okay. They give you one 2 on a possible. They need to give you a strong 3. And let's go to WWE because their top storyline, my guy, had a promo in SmackDown that everybody seems to love that I think was poo.
All right, let's get into it.
I think it was poo.
Rudy Poo? Candy ass? Listen.
He need to fire up the band because what I heard.
I think there was a lot in that promo. Let's talk about it. Like SmackDown 2 nights ago in Salt Lake City, we had, the Bloodline, Rock, Roman Reigns and Bloodline show up, and Rock was supposed to appear as well after everything that happened at the press conference to talk. And they waited all show.
And this is in response to Cody. I'm sorry. And this is a response.
And this is a response to Cody, who
check everybody up. Yeah, this is a response to Cody.
The match is now set for Roman and Cody at WrestleMania. And this is a response to him, deciding to face Roman. But there's a lot said in the promo that I think, to me, I like, because it doesn't have to. It's just this is not. We got weeks to WrestleMania. We got a lot of weeks. So this right here, all it is another chapter in the story or another episode in the series to feed our, take us one more step down the road. So The Rock and Roman cut a promo. First, Roman comes out with Bloodline, and he mentions that this is officially the night The Rock joined the Bloodline, and everything we say matters. Everything we say has meaning. He said all that, and I took that and I said, he must have said that for a reason.
Can you explain to me what he said that had meaning, please? Because I stayed up, I had kids to put down, I had homework to do, I had shit I stayed up because I thought they was going to be top of the show. They wasn't top of the show, so clearly they closing the show. What was said outside of I'm going to use everything in my power? That's what I heard. Everybody knows what he is, kayfabe. Everybody knows what he is legitimately as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What else was said?
So one thing, it's like I said, this is the next step in your series. And one thing I remember I told you back in the day, we started the podcast. I'll come on, I'm like, yo, I wish wrestling told stories like a television show, like if it's like Walking Dead or if it's like Game of Thrones. And you're like, yo, this is not Game of Thrones. It's not Walking Dead. It's just wrestling. It's just whatever. And I'm like, but it can be better, And I feel like we're living that right now. I feel like we're in a moment where they're dripping a little bit of information each week, and the fans get to speculate, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Like when I watch Walking Dead, I'm like, oh my God, Negan has the bat. Who is he going to kill? Is he going to kill Glenn? Is he going to kill Abraham? Is he going to kill Maggie? Who is he going to kill with his bat? And I had to take a whole fucking 6 months or to a year to find out who he killed. And I'm like, oh man. And the entire time I'm speculating who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? This is like that, where I'm speculating what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Who's going to face Roman? Who's going to face? Oh, it's going to be Cody. Okay, now Cody's going to face Roman. Okay, how is this going to turn out? And now we get to see a little bit of details that may foreshadow what happens. And in this promo, when Roman says everything we say matters and has meaning, then The Rock comes out and he's wearing that vest, the designer vest, Versace. And we immediately know, oh, this is a different type of Rock, a Rock we haven't seen in a very long time, which The Rock even voiced himself. We haven't seen this Rock in a very long time, but I've always been here. It's always been here. But when he comes down there, he says, guys, Salt Lake City, we have broken a record in indoor attendance for this building. And he says, you've broken the record for the biggest grouping of trailer park trash I've ever seen. I freaking pop, bro. I thought it was incredible because it's been so long since we've got this version of The Rock. And it's hilarious. It's funny, bro. But here's the thing about The Rock. He says, you had it in your hands. You had the match, Rock, Roman, WrestleMania, and you threw it all away. You pretty much calling everybody imbecile, calling them idiots. You threw it all away. It's just the next step in the story where The Rock gets to voice his opinion on what has transpired. So that's what matters right here. But the details in this also matter because people are now piecing together, and it's drawing insane YouTube numbers. This promo on with The Rock and Roman, because The Rock is now saying Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you leave WrestleMania exactly what you are, a loser. And he points, but he's pointing at Roman Reigns when he says it. So now there's these theories going around that is The Rock sending a message through how he's pointing? Will he be turning on Roman come WrestleMania? So right now, maybe we don't know what the meeting is. Maybe we got to piece it together in hindsight. And I don't know if I'm just reading too much in it, or if the internet is reading too much into it, or if there's something to it. And then at the end of it all, he says, "If you smell what the bloodline's cooking," and he raises up the one, but he brings it up like with an L. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? I don't know. Does he think he's the leader, or does he think like the L is for they're losers? What does that mean?
Y'all niggas are these Illuminati's fucking.
So all in all, that's what's going on right now. And I'm not saying that I'm insinuating anything myself, but I think it's a very interesting and exciting time to be a wrestling fan if this is what's going on. To the fact that even when I'm watching the Joe Budden podcast, Joe Budden is talking about The Rock slapping the shit out of Cody Rhodes, which is a cross of two forms of media that I consume that I never thought would happen. Joe Budden's not a wrestling fan, but he heard about it, he saw it, and the world is talking.
But Ish brought up wrestling too. Ish said that
Ish is not a wrestling fan.
Was it Ish or is it Ice? One of them. Which one?
Queen's Flip.
It's a light skinned nigga that sat on the couch that brought up Jade and Rhea Ripley.
He did bring up Jade because Jade looked good. That's why Ish did bring up Jade Cargill, because Jade looks like a specimen, and everybody she gets attention from everybody across the world. So, but yeah, it's not on like he's a fan of wrestling though.
But to your point. Why would, if you believe what you believe, why would you send me what you sent me about Bully Ray then? Because with that being said, what part of this story makes any sense that you're trying to make? And this is the thing that you get upset about with WWE. I won't say AEW, with WWE. When they make you figure it out. And why would they make you figure it out? Because they ain't figure it out themselves. How will we know? How many motherfucking stories have we balled up and threw to the side, nigga? We know when the story is incomplete. Now,
no, I think that this is part of the fun of being a wrestling fan is speculation. I do. I don't think that that's where they're necessarily going. I just like to talk about it. We have a podcast. It's a great time. It's a great conversation piece to say, hey, do you think it's possible The Rock will turn on Roman Reigns in main event of WrestleMania and help Cody or something? You know, it's a possibility that people are like, oh, wow, what would that mean? You know, Bully Ray's thing was about he doesn't think they had a plan going out of Royal Rumble. And I agree with that. He's saying that there wasn't a plan leaving Royal Rumble. And they had to figure this shit out on the fly. You got to understand that reaction to, Rock face off with Roman on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. It was surprising to them. I do think it was a shock to everybody in WWE because it was a shock to me. I'm a fan.
Why wouldn't it be surprised? It's the first time they've been in the ring. And
the We Want Cody, the We Want Cody response online. Like the backlash, Cody giving up his spot. That's what I'm talking about. That was a surprise to me.
Because that's dumb. It's dumb. None of it made sense from jump. Like they are scrambling right now because again, what I'm thinking, what you talking about, the surprise that they had was when Rock returned. And he said, maybe I should sit at the head of the table. That was everybody like us, podcast speculations. And, oh, well, what if Rock had Perth? Rock never been on our show. I'm like, bro, Rock ain't never did Saudi. Rock like we did that already. So with that being said, not to overtalk you, not to be so loud. coming out of Royal Rumble, Cody at the press conference, and since Rocky came back, he said, I don't care who it comes back or what. I'm the guy. He said in a press conference, I'm the guy. Why would you give up the spot? That story has never been fucking retrieved. Then they pivot and talk about and try to sprinkle a little Versace vest on it and a little I'll be your shield on it. Like who? No, I ain't forget none of that shit, blood. This story ain't adding up. It's stupid. It don't make no sense.
No. You got a point. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the excitement is manufactured because The Rock is back and he's actively cutting promos, and I do think I enjoy the Seth Rollins entrance into this all. I liked when Seth gave him the whole ultimatum of like, hey man, this is the Workers' Championship, and you want this championship. I want you to face me. I like that whole promo. I really liked Seth promo past Monday. I did. Seth had a really good promo and about how if you're gonna do that, you got to leave their champion. And you got to give the championship back to the people. And maybe I'm part of the reason why Roman has become this monster. You know, back then we were part of the Shield, but I'm more equipped to be your Shield and be a part of it. I enjoyed that, you know. Now, I will think what you're looking for is very interesting, and I think it's warranted. And what you're looking for is the reason why did Cody initially think that, you know, he wasn't going to face Roman at WrestleMania? Like when he said that line.
And Bischoff said, why?
Yeah, why? Why did Cody initially even say, I will face you, but not at WrestleMania? I want to take everything from you. You said all that shit. I want that championship, and say not at WrestleMania. And then a week later say, I want you at WrestleMania. Like that is the lapse between the storyline right now, which we have time to see if they ever tell that, because we got weeks to get to WrestleMania.
Hey, we said that about MCU, nigga, and we 3 phases in. We don't get none of that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can say that, but it's plot holes that not been filled, that because they made another spectacle, we just fall back in line.
And I think in hindsight, I mean, in retrospectively, they can patch them up, but we shall see. Because if they don't ever patch it up, trust me, I will be the first to come on here and say, listen, you guys didn't really tell us why Cody, you know, initially didn't make that decision on Roman, or why he went back on choosing Roman when Seth proposed that, you know. And we haven't heard from Cody. We haven't heard what Rock and Cody talked about yet. We haven't heard what the conversations were that he had. So that will be interesting to see on the road to WrestleMania if they give that up at some point of like what those conversations were. I think that's part of the intrigue to the story, though, that sometimes when you're watching television show, you're like, wait, what happened? Did he whisper to that girl? Okay, what did he say to that girl? And then like down the line by the end of the series, you see, oh shit, they were talking about this at that time, and then it all clicks. Hopefully this is something like that. Maybe they don't have the answer yet, and maybe they're going to figure it out tomorrow or next week or the week after, but they have time. That's my thing, is that they do have time. If they don't, and WrestleMania comes and goes, I'm like, all right, that was cool and all, I'm happy for everybody, but this was some bullshit, and I'll call it out.
Well, I want to ask, how do they have time? And then we say, and you're engaged and everything like that, but AEW has forced you to like move, and I know we have bandwidth, right? But like, this is the top. This is the top of the top. This is the main event of WrestleMania, bro.
Because they gave me something.
This is how we buy tickets to what night we want.
The difference is AEW, when they give me something, I come here and tell you. They get me something like, I really like this promo with, you know, Cody with Swerve and Hangman. I love the match. I come here and praise the hell out of it whenever they give. They have given me great promos with Seth Rollins. They give me a great press conference. They give me a great promo with The Rock and Roman, in my opinion, that officially says Roman is part of the bloodline, and that image with him throwing up the one. Like, all that is a little bit at a time, giving us the landscape of what WrestleMania will be turning out to be and shaping up to be. So I do think it's going to be a great show in Philly. I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get down there now, because, you know, it's going to be interesting. I gotta get to the city, you know, for LA Mania at least. But I want to be down there, yo. So, you know, it's definitely going to be a big show, and I think they're building it up the right way. I know that you didn't like that promo on Friday, which is your prerogative, but majority of people are like, yo, they're locked in, bro. They're locked in and ready to watch this shit.
Okay,
And that's what it's about.
Okay, so with that, okay, how about this? I'll give you that one storyline. Jay and Gunther, I'll give you that one because that's going to lead to a match. That was a good promo. They had good six man. What else? Because I know the women is moving me, but tag. I was very shocked that the Big Strong Boys, British Strong Style, beat DIY. But now DIY is now involved in the 8-man with Awesome Truth against Judgment Day. So that's what I'm saying. Like DIY should have went over. That's bad storytelling. DIY should have beat Pete Dunne, and therefore this match that they're having on Raw. But I can understand they wanted the European effect over there in Australia with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. So
it's gonna be a big match for those guys. I'm happy for those guys. The international, stars going over there doing their thing. They did everything. They didn't do it for Braun. I mean, not Braun. Bronson Reed. They didn't do it for him because he
might
from
be able
Australia.
to get that battle. He might get the battle royal though. You never know.
They said that I think the last spot went to Logan Paul. That's what they said on SmackDown. The last spot is not Logan Paul.
Logan Paul lost. How did he get the last spot?
Logan Paul beat The Miz.
Oh yeah, the last one. I mean, yeah, he beat The Miz. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm thinking I'm sorry.
No,
that's the last spot.
Yeah, that's what they said. So I was hoping they would do a battle royal for the men too. I know the women are getting one, like a last chance battle royal, but the men, it seems like they're completed already. Which it's stacked, bro. The men's, it's gonna be a good match. I think that this is gonna be probably the best match of the show. I'm happy. I think it's gonna be a good match. I know that you're like, I think because we don't have an idea of who's gonna win it, but I kind of like that, So you can pull it up. Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, you're right. Logan Paul got the last spot. It's Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul. Well, we know Kevin Owens and Logan Paul is going to eliminate each other. LA Knight and Randy Orton is going to eliminate each other. Bobby and Drew McIntyre is the last two in the match. Drew McIntyre wins. There it is. I booked it. Didn't even have to fight. I didn't even light my joint for that shit.
I'm with Drew too. I gotta say, I think Drew has been on fire the past couple of months, and if he sneaks into WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, he's earned that spot.
Yes,
and if he's in the match, and if he's in it with Seth, and this is his last chance, I think he's gonna kill those promos on the way to WrestleMania, and I think he's gonna kill Seth at WrestleMania. So I think that
he should win it at WrestleMania.
He should win it, absolutely. I think Drew should win it for a championship.
Drew should win it at WrestleMania.
Absolutely. And then he can carry it. And, I know that we got Damian Priest with the Money in the Bank, and he has beef with him.
They got to build their fruit. They got to build their feud. They got to build their feud right there.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be cool to see. And then down the line, when CM Punk is actually healthy, woo, that's a built-in match right there. So Drew signing his contract and staying with WWE, which I predicted that he's going to sign his contract and stay WWE. There's no way he's going backwards, and going to sorry, not going to AEW and Impact. That's not happening, or NTNA. It's not happening. He's going to resign, and I think he'll be champion, the second World Heavyweight Champion on this run that he's on. He rightfully so. So I know we've seen it before, but we haven't seen it at WrestleMania. And if they give it a stipulation, I think it could be very interesting. But I doubt they will. I think it'll just be a one-off match.
I mean, it should be a stipulation. It should be like a last man, or I quit or some shit like that.
I would like that. But typically they don't do that for the World Heavyweight Championships at WrestleMania, the Heavyweight Championship. But I would like to see that. Like, even if it's I don't know, because Austin and Rock had like a no holds barred match. I like to see that no holds barred match, with Seth and Drew. And then, so I'm booking that. That's what I'm booking. On the women's side of things, I said that as a foregone conclusion, that's probably going to be Becky. But my boy over here said, hey, Don't sleep on Bianca winning this Elimination Chamber. And I hear you on that.
Bianca has a real good chance for a four-peat going back to Mania for a fourth time. What it'll be 30, it'll be 37, 38, 39, 40. You know what I'm saying? So she got to find a way in there. I think Bianca and Rhea at WrestleMania 40 would be amazing.
Only thing is, they've been telling the story of Bianca of Becky Lynch and Rhea for. They've been teasing it for like past 6-7 months, So I don't see them pivoting from that. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. And I think with Jay Cargill possibly having her first match one-on-one WrestleMania, it could be against somebody like Bianca, or they could tag and go against the Kabuki Warriors. That'll be crazy to see them have a match and be tag champions by leaving because at the end of the day, Bianca's still gonna leave a gold, right? So at the end of the day, that could just be a possibility.
I think you know what, I can get jiggy with that. I suppose, you know what I'm saying. I suppose.
One thing I don't know or have any idea of is who the hell's facing Gunther at WrestleMania, and that's where I'm like completely lost right now.
What if Jay wins that Elimination Chamber?
Jay is facing him on Monday. Night
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow.
Oh, damn.
Unless there's like a false finish and they say they're gonna redo it at Elimination Chamber.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. We mentioned TNA with Drew. Because why would he go back? And let's talk about why would he not go back.
All right. So if you guys have heard in the last week, we didn't touch on it, but TNA, after the rebrand, has let go of their president, Scott D'Amore, who was the booker and running the entire show for the past. Ever since the rebrand, back when Anthem took over, he's been the guy. And a lot of the guys love him. Pretty much a lot of the guys and gals who work there love them, and they're pretty much not happy. I know Moose said if Scott leaves, I'm leaving too. I'm not sure if he's gonna be leaving. We'll see. But I just want to bring this up to bring in.
Anthem looking at the books like, see ya.
But the drama apparently was that D'Amore wanted, now with the rebrand of TNA, D'Amore wanted to make it a bigger show. Like he wanted a bigger budget for bigger events, and to get bigger talent. So Anthem was like, we're kind of happy with where in TNA is right now. We want to keep it in this mid-level tier wrestling show and not go any bigger than you guys are happy with where it's at. But they let him go, man. And he was even trying to buy TNA from them to say, all right, let me buy it from you and go about it my own way and still control the future of this company. He's gotten it to this place where people are talking about it again. People are excited about the future of TNA and some of the stars that got there. And it seems like all the talent love this guy. What do you say to letting go of a huge influence on the success of your company, which could have died a long time ago, and the morale of the company going forward, especially with the rebrand? He's not there to guide them forward. I think this could be a misstep on Anthem's part.
Listen, there's been firings of coaches, GMs, offensive, defensive coordinators, you know what I'm saying? Like that were leaders in the locker room that had built in player relationship, player development, everything like that.
Man, Steve Wilkes gets fired every year, and I'm like, why?
In this case, I would say this will be bad only if Anthem. This will be bad only if Anthem don't have a direction for the company going forward. So even if it's financial, be like, look, man, he was trying to fight for some things, but listen, we got to get through this first year of under. We're in the black. We purchase like because you got to think. So listen, I know this is in the weeds, and a lot of people may not be talking about it, and some people might be talking about it. ESPN, Fox, they are trying to conglomerate. Warner Brothers are trying to Warner Brothers Discovery is trying to make a conglomerate of an app that shows only their sports channels or the channels that have sports. So for those who have a cable package or for those who don't have a cable package and just want their sports, boom, that's their app. Part about that is, and this is what I'm trying to say, CBS and NBC was not a part of that deal. CBS and NBC also have NFL rights. Majority of the reason why that conglomerate was put together is so people who won't watch football can watch football. They got YouTube TV. They got to go here. They got to go here. It's
Amazon.
This app here, right? It's the app right here with all of them like it. And so CBS and NBC wasn't part of that. Come to find out, Paramount Plus and Peacock has been in talks about merging together. Guess who owns those two companies? CBS and NBC, right? It's all about a fight for intellectual property right now, right? And not so much that they don't know this, but it's not so much intellectual property, is that regional sports rights or regional sports deals or cable television network is losing the value that was subsidizing contracts, floating of how people got paid, everything like that. So as Anthem, who is a streaming, I believe they stream, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're streaming. They're a streaming distributor or a streaming network.
They should if they don't, because I mean they ain't by now. Then there's a problem.
So my point is this: if Anthem was trying to diversify their portfolio, would you say?
Channel on Hulu.
They got a channel
on Hulu. Yeah.
Okay. They have a channel on Hulu. Now I have Samsung TV. Samsung TV has a built-in TNA channel. It's an internet streaming channel. So what I am trying to say is that as everything is moving into digital media, digital intellectual property, maybe the cable contract that they had with Access TV and everything like that fell through. And that's all I'm saying is because as sports fans, me and you, Chidi, pay attention to these contracts in the next half decade to a decade.
Okay.
Right.
Anthem is also on Amazon. So pretty much they are licensing their channel, which they put shows on, including TNA, to different streaming distributors. So they're not a distributor themselves. And that means that their primary source of income, I think, will be probably ads and their licensing fees. So I can see where you're coming from. All that depends on, because they're not, but where they have other shows that they put on there, but they're happy with where they're at. They're not trying to grow this one wrestling company, and that's not their priority.
Exactly.
But right now, like you're saying, it's a streaming like Hunger Games era right now. Right now, it's the Hunger Games of streaming. They're trying to gobble up and get your eyeballs to their streaming platform, because the next 10 years will determine how we move in streaming. There will be a big bank take little bank kind of idea where
Netflix
Amazon's coming
$25 a month, bro.
Yo, crazy. Shit. They are trying to monopolize this shit. It's not going to be across the board, but just like we had NBC channel, ABC channel, TNT, all that, TBS, we're going to have like 4 or 5 streaming channels in the future. Yeah. And right now it's about 15 or 16 or something like that. But you're going to eat each other over time. We have WWE Network. Now WWE Network moved to Peacock. There's going to be a lot more of that shit going on, because people are going to come together to get more eyeballs on one place.
Think about how that shit is. But do you think, but we didn't pay attention to that when it happened with news, right? We didn't pay attention when it happened with news. We didn't pay attention when it happened with newspapers. We didn't pay attention when it happened with, again, cable, right?
Yeah.
And now it's being the cycle is repeating itself because we can't stop cannibalizing ourselves, right?
I mean, like I said, big bang, take little. If you got the money to do it, but there's new players in the game, and those
Yeah,
players are coming heavy, like
yeah,
Amazon
yeah,
and
yeah,
Apple. Like they
yeah.
weren't in the cable game before. Now they're new companies, that are tech companies that are taking the spot. So they were not in the game before, who have now created something that can usurp these cable companies and put their own media out there and own it. And it's gonna get crazy next couple of years. I'm really gonna be interested to see, because at the end of the day, it's cool. It's good to see the competition for the consumer, but at the same time, once they start working together, like you're saying it, they are. There's gonna be a lot of consolidation, and the prices will go up.
Yo, the
So
price is already going up.
already going up, yeah, but it's gonna go up even further. Cable bills before were like $100 something for cable. Now it's gonna be like, all right, $100 something for my Netflix shit. Once they combine with Apple, or it'll be like, all right, now that's where your cable is. Now we own your cable. That's what they're trying to do. As this relates to Impact and TNA, I can see Anthem's side of things, but I still think the morale, you need a wrestling mind in place. And
Okay.
I think they made an effort this week when they put Tommy Dreamer. He's now the chief content chief. He's a chief
Chief content creator.
how would I say? No, he's head of creative. He's pretty much head of creative. Yeah. So hopefully that lightens the blow for the talent there, and they can be like, all right, we got somebody that's on our side still that knows wrestling. But Scott D'Amore, I definitely feel like he's done so much for them that it is a little bit weird to let him go right now.
Yeah, I think in what you're saying is true, because I think when you talk about how he was involved with Naomi Trinity, you know what I'm saying? A lot of just that alone, right? How you can see how he was a champion for that and presenting her and making her feel as special as she was in WWE. I do believe that he is one of those good minds, but also this might open the door for Scott coming WWE, bro.
That would be interesting. That's what I thought. I thought about that. I was like, he's gonna probably get picked up by WWE.
Abyss is there, bro. Fucking Nick Aldis is there, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
Yeah,
niggas
man.
is there, bro. Like, pull up. You know what
Speaking
I'm
of
saying?
Naomi, shout out to her, man. She got involved. She's down the Elimination Chamber, and she has a new entrance. Like once she came out with that shit, I was like, oh, she's winning this match, of course. I mean, she's
in the chamber, baby.
Yeah, so happy to see her back. I like her new finishing maneuver, that submission finisher. So yeah, I think that as I could see like their growth, and I think that here's what I mean. Like TNA is in a sensitive space, so I just hope that they make the right decisions. Put it that way. Trinity left, now they got Naomi, but Scott D'Amore might end up in WWE. Well, hopefully this sensitive space they're in with this new rebrand, it works out. But because they got the eyeballs now, people are.
Bro, TNA don't die, bro. We worry about something that like, these niggas is good, blood.
All right. You're right.
They don't die.
But the opportunity to make TNA bigger than it was, I think, might die and might just stay where that's where they're an afterthought. You know what I mean?
I feel you on that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all. We touched on everything today. Anything else you got to say before we get up out of here?
Man, the longer I'm here, the longer I ain't gotta play that dude. But I'm also I hear the water running for bath time.
Time. All right, man.
That's what I keep looking up, because I hear is she yelling at them niggas, or is she singing with them niggas?
Nah, man, get back in there and check up on them, and shout out to the fam. Send the love to the family.
She don't call me, nigga. I'm about to go live, blood.
Do you, bro? But you still got to end the pods for that to happen. Go ahead. We live right here. It's Reasonable Wrestling Podcast. All is love. Everything is wrestling. We'll be back next week with the next episode. We're at 240 right now. 241 next week. Let's keep it rolling.
All right, man. You know what it is. This is Drake Reliant. So you can see these eyes, bro. We smoking some good ass. Holla out your boy, Chidi Bane, my tag team partner, the best tag partner I can ever have. You know what I mean? It's Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. I'll be Charlie Haas in this case. He'll be Shelton Benjamin.
Underrated, overlooked. Both of us.
Oh man, everything is all is love. Everything is wrestling. I stole his line.
World's greatest tag team, guys. We'll holler at you next week.
Peace.
Deuces.